Dumelang Absheni Ralocha Sanmanani Mulweni. My name is Naledi Mfoloe, and it is my absolute pleasure to welcome you to the latest edition of the African Diaspora News channel, where we unravel the stories that shape our world and our communities. Now, today I want us to speak frankly, right, about the reality that we as Africans know too well. And this is the so-called aid we receive from the West and how it's nothing more than a fraction of what they've actually taken from us. Now, let's be real for a moment, right? This isn't just about aid. This is about something deeper. It's about the ongoing looting of our continent, this systematic plundering of our resources, of our land and our people. And the worst part, the West has the audacity to dress it up as charity and to present it back at us as though they're doing us a favor. But if we're being honest, what they give to us as aid is actually a fraction of the swag that they've taken away from us over the centuries. Now, this view was expressed by Dr. Arikana Chihombori-Quao, who is the former African Union ambassador to the United States in 2018. And she bluntly, right, said that the West loots Africa by night and gives us the aid by day. And you know what? The longer I think about her words, the more they ring true, because the aid we get from Western countries is actually nothing more than a tiny fraction of the wealth that's been stripped away from our lands and actually dressed up and packaged and given back to us as a favor and as if it's charity. Let's watch.
I mean, if Africans, Francophone African countries, were to decide today that all French companies must get out of Africa, that all the monies that are going to France, estimated at hundreds of billions of dollars annually, if all that funding would stop going to France today, France will immediately become the third world country. And Africa no longer needs to be getting aid from anybody. If you look at the billions of dollars France is getting out of Africa every year, and then the fraction that they give back to Africa in the name of aid, out of what I like to call loot. They loot from us at night, and during the day they come back and give us a pittance of the loot in the name of aid. It is a joke. And how we Africans have tolerated this for centuries is sad.
But let's take a step back and think about this for a moment, right? Why do we call it aid? Why do we allow them to dress up their exploitation as help? And how is it possible that the very countries that benefit from this constant exploitation have the nerve to call us ungrateful when we finally push back? I mean, take France, for example, right? Post-independence, France set up a system where they had the first rights on the extraction and the sale of natural resources from the former colonies, which is our resources, mind you. And think about this, right? Our minerals, gold and oil was being sold to France at prices so low that it was actually practically theft if we think about it. And when we as African nations actually tried to break free from the stranglehold, we were met with coups, assassinations and destabilizations, which were all being orchestrated by French to protect their interests. And this isn't a conspiracy theory, by the way. This is a matter of historical fact. We have the receipts. And don't even get me started on the CFA France zone, right? African nations in this zone are forced to keep at least 50% of their reserves in France under the gaze of currency stability. Stability for whom exactly? Certainly not for the African people. And this is a situation where we're forced to hand over our wealth while being told that we don't have enough to develop our countries. And it's painful. And yet some people, right, many people in the West have the nerve to call us ungrateful when we finally start to push back, when we start telling the truth about the continued exploitation. I mean, look at the recent events in West Africa. Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger, and now Chad have all expelled French troops and served military cooperation agreements. And this is a massive move towards reclaiming sovereignty, which I believe it's towards putting an end to the neo-colonial system that has kept African nations weak and dependent. And when we do this, the response from President Macron of France, he called us ungrateful.
Je crois qu'on a oublié de nous dire merci. C'est pas grave, ça viendra avec le temps. L'ingratitude, je suis bien placé pour le savoir, c'est une maladie non transmissible à l'homme. Et je le dis pour tous les gouvernants africains qui n'ont pas eu le courage, vis-à-vis de leurs opinions publiques, de le porter. Aucun d'entre eux ne serait aujourd'hui avec un pays souverain si l'armée française ne s'était pas déployée dans cette région. Et j'ai une pensée émue pour nos soldats.
As opposed to African leaders being ungrateful, they should be brought to account actually for not pointing out the very many ways in which France has messed up the region, and how this singular act of kicking out the French military should be like the start of proceedings against all the nasty stuff that France has been doing in the region.
And that's the arrogance of colonialism, which still is alive and well today. But let me say this clearly. We are not ungrateful. We are simply tired. We are tired of being robbed blind, tired of being told that we can't manage our own resources, tired of being held back by systems that don't serve us. It's time for us to reclaim our land, our resources, and our future. It's time for Africa's gardens to feed Africans and not ex-colonizers. It's time to stop being complacent in our own oppression, if you ask me, because when I look around South Africa, I see the potential. We've got the resources, we've got the people, but we also need to stop relying on external aid and start looking inward. Because there is a strength in unity, in African reliance, and we need to be bold enough to say no to the continued exploitation, and yes, to building something sustainable and something that actually benefits us and only us. Now, when we talk about aid from the West, let's be clear, it's not aid, it's crumbs from the table of centuries of looting. And I believe it's time we take back what's ours. And this doesn't just mean resisting external forces, but it means standing up within our nations and holding our leaders accountable and demanding our resources work for us and not against us. What are your thoughts on this? Please, let's continue the conversation in the comment section. I really want to hear what your thoughts are. And while you're at it, don't forget to give